Welcome to this wonderful edition of the Progressive Mind Show. My name is Senna, aka Alinko. Today is March 19th, 2024, and we are about to engage this beautiful woman about Women International Day. The conversation is a household one, and I'm sure that people around the globe have been acknowledging this month as Women International Month or International Women's Month. So this evening, the Progressive Mind Show would have our edition. We'll have a take on what is it about this month. We have Mother's Day, and it's a big celebration. Then we have Women's Day. Now, there are, again, conversations in communities and certain households. These are things we talk about that we don't seem to celebrate Men's Day or Men's International Day or men enough, right? And so why women? But it's not that platform today. And I just said that so we can understand the impetus and the gravity of the conversation that we're about to have. If you're a woman out there, please make sure you can chime in or send this feed to your friends, your family members, and your network so we can understand more, especially men and young people, children, can understand more the gravity or the importance, the critical conversation when it comes to women balancing life in the corporate world and at home. Very, very, very key conversation. And again, we are glad to be here this evening. We have to start a little slightly late into the program this evening, but we are sure that by the time we go through some of the points that we want to discuss, you would have gotten some valuable points and perspectives through this program. Please share the feed if you just joined us on Facebook. If you are on YouTube, like it, like the channel, and then, of course, share with folks and encourage them to join the feed. If you're on Facebook, do same. Please like the page and then share it as well. Once again, you're welcome to the #1 community building show in the world. I see already my brother Mike. Mike used to do the Captain Mike segment. Captain Mike, we miss you a lot. The Progressive Minds. He is wishing all women happy International Women's Day. Truly appreciate you, brother. Let's get in touch very soon. So without much ado, I'd like to go to my guest this evening. Irene Anderson is here. Irene Anderson is a family nurse practitioner. She would be giving us her perspective. And then we have LATWAINA Kelly, who's an author, public speaker, or motivational speaker, and also a life coach. Once again, you're welcome. In this show, we'll also talk about a big program or a big event that LATWAINA Kelly is working on in Detroit. So stay tuned. This is going to be very, very important. Ladies, you're welcome to the Progressive Mind Show.
Thank you. Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you.
Firstly, let's get to know a bit more about who LATWAINA Kelly is and Irene. We'll start with LATWAINA. I just mentioned that you are an author, motivational speaker, but when you were not in your elements, who is LATWAINA Kelly?
A full-time wife, a full-time mother, and a sexual assault advocate. And I'm just, helping people in areas that I can help.
Fantastic. Great. Thanks for sharing. Irene Anderson, if you're not happily helping folks who are sick, what are you interested in?
I am a full-time mother as well. I have two young adults and a teenager in college. And when I'm not cooking for them, I am running to church or attending Bible study or just hanging out with my friends.
Thank you. So Irene, I know you're coming. You originally hail from Cameroon.
That's correct.
So we would like to get a little bit perspective from the African standpoint. Before we do so, unless somebody goes online now and Google and Google's International Women's Month, people would hardly know what it really stands for, where it started from, how it came about. LATWAINA, can you help us get to this, get a bit more understanding about the background of International Women's Day?
Ooh, International Women's Day. I don't even really have an answer.
I know. It's that's why that's the reason why I asked, because people don't really, we just celebrate it, right? And I think that it's important that we get where it's coming from, the background of it, the weight of it. And so, Irene,
I'm not sure either. I think it started from the women's emancipation period. I cannot be very sure, but I think, yeah.
Right. No, so you're right. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have a huge, I would say, historical context, but Women's International Day is a holiday celebrated, of course, annually on March 8th. So March 8th was Women's Month, Women's Day, actually. It's just a focal. So I'll take it again. Women's International Day is a holiday celebrated annually on March 8th as a focal point in women's rights movement. So it gives focus to issues such as gender equality, reproductive rights, and violence and abuse against women. So it places you exactly in your work, actually, LATWAINA. Some of these issues that women encounter and go through is probably the reason why some organizations started this conversation, and now we have what we call International Women's Day, so that we can dedicate time to focus and highlight very, very critical challenges that women go through. I know somebody called, but we have not opened the phone lines yet, so please bear with us. Want to engage a bit more before we can call it. I'm sorry. Call up. We have to, yes, we have to get into the conversation a bit more. The phone lines have not been open, but feel free to chime in quickly. Hello, caller. Yes, so we haven't opened the phone lines officially, but since you are in, please go ahead and tell us your name and why you're ringing into the show. Okay, so if you want to listen to Irene, go on Facebook, type The Progressive Mind Show. you should be able to watch her live. Or you can go on YouTube and type The Progressive Minds with S, MINDS show, The Progressive Minds show, either on YouTube and Facebook. You should see this live show. You can watch her then and also chime in if you want to. Okay. You're welcome. So, having said that, Irene, I want to hear from the African. Is this, when we talk about women, violence on women, child abuse, when it comes to women, how relevant or how prevalent is this issues, or are these issues in Cameroon, and looking at it from the West African perspective? I mean, you've lived there, you were politically savvy somewhat, so you want to share you want to share with our audience this evening what you have seen, what you have learned, and why this conversation is very, very important.
Yes, in terms of from the African perspective, me as an African, I can say, me as a Cameroonian, I can say women abuse, child abuse is very, very prevalent in the Cameroonian community back in Cameroon. But it's something that is so hidden, it's not something that is talked about. It's some sort of a taboo, at least when I was still back at home. I think it still is. People don't talk about these things, but they all know it's going on. It's family, family on family, adult uncles and big brothers or cousins preying on young girls. And growing up, you see those things, but people shy away from talking about them.
Okay.
It projects a stigma on the child, on the victim,
okay.
and it just doesn't show well on the family. So it's not something that's talked about, but it is very prevalent.
So you were saying that the society the country, the culture in Cameroon is that women encounter these things, but either whether from the families themselves, the community, the government, even religious bodies, do not necessarily take up this challenge, take up this conversation at a higher level in an attempt to curtail it.
That's correct. That's absolutely correct.
Thank you.
There.
Mm-hmm. No, go ahead.
But people don't talk about it, and when they do, it kind of disappears in the system. Okay. It's hardly ever brought to the limelight. Okay. The perpetrators are hardly prosecuted to conviction, and to the point of serving some kind of punishment for that. So it's really up to the point when I left home in 1999, that was the case. I'm not sure what's going on right now. I don't think much has changed, though.
Okay. At least you have not heard. LATWAINA.
Yes.
You want to give us that from the, I would say, the American system, the American society, but you being an African-American woman, maybe you can be specific too when it comes to that demographic.
Well, yes. Is a stigma where keeping secrets and swept under the rug is not talked about in schools. It's not talked about in churches. Like, where do we get help from? It goes on with here in Detroit. We just had 2 elderly women, sexual abuse by a young man. And it's like, they'll talk about it for that hot second and just go away. And I want to be a voice for the voiceless. I want to be a voice for the children, people that can't speak up. But it's like understanding the grooming processes. When you have an uncle, like my uncle groomed me, giving me ice cream and telling me I'm his favorite niece. Never knew that I would be betrayed, sexual assaulted, and beaten by a man that said he loved me, my uncle. And it goes on in the home with dads, granddads, uncles, brothers, and it's just like, where do we get help from? And I would like to see, this spoken about more, and not just like when a person is sexual abused and they go talk to the authorities are telling you nobody ain't gonna believe you. You pushed away by the authorities, you pushed away by the pastor, you pushed away by people. Who do we talk to? Where do we get help?
How long have you observed this issue in this country?
Well, actually, I am 45 years old. I was sexually abused at the age of 13. So I would say, been going on for a long time. It's been going on very long time.
When you and we would like to take the opportunity to empathize with what you had to deal with, and it's it's very admirable that people who have faced adversity and travesty have been able to come out of it and become better and actually have become role models. And of course, you are a motivational speaker now, and you have this event coming, and you're working to build women. So congratulations on coming out of that, because we also know that a lot of people have gone through that and have not been able to come out of that trauma.
Not
right.
At all. Yes.
And so thanks for sharing. Now, Irene, you talked about, and I'll come back to you shortly, LATWAINA. Irene, you talked about how some of these issues, when it comes to abuse, whether it's physical or verbal, on women in Africa, and I can attest to what you say. So I completely agree. It's a huge issue in Africa, especially on the West, in Ghana too, which is where I'm from. So I agree with you on that. Apart from that, are women celebrated when they attain feats, whether in your careers, in corporate life? Are women encouraged? First of all, are they celebrated, and are they encouraged by their society and even men? Again, from the African perspective, looking at it from Cameroon or West Africa.
Growing up in Cameroon, as a young child, it wasn't the norm to even acknowledge a woman who brought in, women's contribution financially in the household was not really recognized, because typically they will be the ones to bring income from their farming, subsistence farming and stuff. It wasn't really recognized. But eventually, women began to form these cooperatives and form organizations where they put themselves forward and try to recognize themselves. Nowadays, from what I see, the Women's Day celebrations is a huge deal in the Cameroonian community. In Cameroon, it's a very big thing. Even the current president's wife, has gotten involved, and they come up with ways of celebrating the woman every year now. They're taking large steps in recognizing the women more, I would say. So it's if the men don't do it, the women themselves are putting themselves forward and recognizing themselves and their contributions to the family. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. LATWAINA, we know America is the land of the free, freedom of speech, democracy, the custodians of democracy, so to speak. And so there is no limitation to what women can achieve and all. But we know we're coming from somewhere. You growing up as a young child, young lady, what has been your experience and observation? Have women, and specifically Black and brown women, being celebrated? Have they been celebrated and given the chance to rise equally as men in this country?
I would say yes. I believe that it all depends what situation and what job you're working, and how you're elevated and how people celebrate you. So I give it a yes and a no. The reason why I say, because some women are hidden and not able to rise in the in the workplace, and in some places they can.
Okay, Thanks for great response. Now, we would like to come to what would you like to see done in these areas, Irene? The challenges that you see young women and women in general face in Cameroon, West African countries. What, if you were in a position to speak to a lot of them, mentor some, what would be your advice for these women to the community at large and to leaders of the country?
Great question. What would be my advice to a young girl? My advice to a young girl would be to educate yourself. Educate yourself not only in terms of going to school and getting certificates and degrees, but educate yourself as far as what goes on around you. And it's a responsibility of the parents, the mothers especially, to start educating these young girls from as early as possible. Inform the child, tell your girl and boy children nowadays that certain things are not right, whether the perpetrator threatens you or not. Tell somebody, educate them to recognize dangerous people and what to look out for, be it from your dad, your uncle, from whoever. Educate the young child, the young girl, to speak up for herself, to and also look out for their siblings. Educate the young child to focus in school and do for herself, as in, it's okay to get, because in the African community, marriage is a big deal. The girls are really brought up to get married, and it's okay. But what happens when your source of the provider of the family, something happens to them, they get sick, then what happens? God forbid. But educate the young child to be able to be self-reliant, to be able to step in when the provider is not able to. Educate the girl child to go as far as to explore their possibilities, explore everything around them. That the sky will not limit them. That there's, I heard a saying recently that really just blew my mind. If you only know what you know, if you limit yourself to knowing only what you know, then you don't know what you don't know. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but the possibilities are so wide. The world is so big. And everything is possible. A man is not greater than you. The boy child is not smarter than you. Things have changed. We know now that the girl child can do what the boy child can do. A woman can do what a man can do. Women have gone to space. Women are doctors, neurosurgeons, engineers. The possibilities are endless. So it's a responsibility. I would educate the girl child. I would tell my girl child, the sky is your limit. The possibilities are endless. Go out there and conquer.
Thank you so much for sharing, Irene. And you are already a motivational speaker, LATWAINA. So I know you're already doing things in this space. And so let's segue to the program that you have coming. With the same question, what would you tell the young girl child? What are you doing as an author, as a motivational speaker, and a life coach? Of course, this is your life work now. So how do you go about it, educating people, especially women, young women, and women in general, to be aware of the issues? And I'm sure you work with stakeholders like politicians and others to bring this conversation home and to help change our world. Tell us a bit about your work in that space.
Okay. What I'm doing is empowering women and young women that has been dealing with any type of trauma and trials and tribulations, and I'm empowering them to know their worth, know who they are, know that they are valuable. And I want, as a child, I felt alone and by myself. So I'm letting them know that they're not alone. They're not by themselves. So just empowering, equipping them to what they need, because the name of my book is Damaged Crown Still Shine. And the damaged crown is when you've been damaged with trauma. So I'm empowering them, giving them tools to fix their crown and letting them know that their crown still shine and they are valuable. And just, just helping young people in the areas that I experienced, that help them get through it, not get over it, but get through it. And the conference is just empowering. It's older women and younger women that haven't got through what they've been through. And this is what this is what I'm keen to do now, is to really be a voice.
Now, thank you also for sharing. So the two of you are trying to be voices. I don't know if Irene, you being a voice, I mean, so you shared what you would wish, or you would communicate to young people in Cameroon or in Africa within your community as well. And you as a life coach, Luana, you're already doing the work. But what I want to be specific about is that, do you also have young girls coming through your organization?
Well, it just started. So
Okay.
I'm working on the young ladies to come through, and perhaps hopefully some young men as well. So
Okay.
I'm working on it. My nonprofit is called Crowning Detroit. And what I'm doing is crowning one person at a time and helping them to persevere.
Well, thank you. It's very bad. It's horrific. It's unfathomable when grown men can hurt young girls, let alone, I mean, that. And of course, even when they are grown women, to aggressively force yourself on a woman, to hurt them in any kind of way, understanding that physically we're built to be stronger, with stronger muscles. So it's a no for any man to be physically overbearing on a woman, or aggressive assault, all of that. And I want to find out, as women, that, and you said something very powerful, Luana, that we have to teach men too. So in this teaching, are there things that we have to show men or teach men? Are there some specifics? While we're doing that, what are some of the things, specific things, that you tell young women, young girls, little girls, and even grown men, to keep to watch out when it comes to men in general? Because the reason why I'm asking and saying this is that, as a man, growing up as a young man in Ghana, I have, and of course growing up here, coming up here, I have seen how young ladies in their teens and even early 20s naively play along with setting, or unknowingly give men some impressions about them. And so, because men are not trained to watch out, that women have a way of doing things. And I think that these are some specifics that we all have to know, men and women. That women have certain traits, they act certain way, and this is what it means when they act this. And the men have to understand that, and women have to understand that when men are doing this and acting this way, this is what it means. The reason why this is important is that, again, women unknowingly kind of, again, give a certain impression, whether it's the way they dress. Again, I'm talking about young ladies, teenagers, 18 above, and perhaps below 30. Sometimes the way they dress, the way they conduct themselves with men, give a certain impression. And I'm not giving any authentication and any confirmation on a man forcibly or aggressively being aggressive on a woman. But are there cues that we teach, again, teenagers and very young women, to watch out from men, and vice versa, so that we can be protective of ourselves, especially the most vulnerable, young girls, teenagers. They can be more protective of themselves, and even very young little girls, right? So that if you're, like you said, if your uncle is asking or sending, giving you candy over and over, maybe you have to tell your mom or your dad that, hey, uncle gives me candy all the time, so that so the mom can start monitoring, or dad can start monitoring the situation even more, to the protection of the young girl, because the young girl, the little girl, would always go for the candy innocuously because it's an uncle. And then if the uncle takes advantage, then that's very unfortunate. But if the young girl knows, okay, tell your uncle, tell your mom and your dad, if uncle or anybody, cousin, brother, anybody decides to be giving you candy all the time and say certain things to you, you have to come tell mom, dad, so that we can start monitoring the situation. Are there some specifics like that? I'm sorry I have to go this long, but I wanted to bring this to an understanding. Please go ahead, Luana.
Well, could I say this? The saying, when parents use what goes on in this house stays in this house, right?
Okay.
And I'm against that saying. It's because everything that goes on in the house that don't need to be staying in the house. And it's up to the parents to be aware of the grooming process, not up to the children, because the children don't know no better. They love uncle, they love auntie, they love grandpa. My grandmother had a thing where we couldn't sit on men's lap. I don't care if it was daddy, grandpa, we couldn't sit on people's lap. So, now I taught my children, nobody touch your good area. And if somebody do, let mommy know. It's up to the parent to teach the child, if somebody touch you there, you come tell me. And a lot of parents, because I never was taught that, somebody touch me to go tell. So it's really up to the parents to pay attention with uncles and granddads or grandmas, whoever it is. Watch out what they're doing. They got to pay attention to the grooming process. With my children, after I went through the trauma, I paid attention to everybody that was around my children. I knew I had to protect mine. And that's where a lot of parents fall prey at, because they don't protect their children enough.
Thank you for sharing.
And they don't believe what their children are saying. I heard someone say that her mother and father told her to be quiet and don't say anything, and acted like it was okay.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing, Luana. Irene.
Yes, I'm just going to piggyback on what Luana said. I think oftentimes parents do know when, some don't, but some, when they do know, they still go ahead and hush the children. But to answer your question, I think it is a parent's responsibility, yes, to start teaching not only the girl child, but also the boy child. Because like you mentioned, teenagers nowadays, the internet and social media has become so much of an influence in our children's lives, as far as what to wear, and that they don't really realize the message that they put out there once the dress a certain way. So it is, it is a mother's a parent's responsibility to caution your children, like, what you're showing out there is a message. You are giving people a message that you are, whatever it is, maybe ready for a relationship or not ready, just by how you dress and how you carry yourself. So in as much as it is important to caution our girl children, especially how they dress, it is also important to teach our young men on how to set limits and how to recognize limits. A no is no. In as much as a girl dresses a certain way, there's yes and there's no. If she says no, it's no. If she is not okay with it, it's not okay with it. And you have to respect that. You have to learn how to I don't know, bring down the excitement, quote unquote.
Mm,
People just need to learn how to respect themselves and
mm,
respect other people's limits.
mm.
And no matter how they dress, no, a woman could even go out with you and sit on your lap or whatever. But if she says no, I don't want to go further than this, you have to respect that. And I think parents have to teach their male children to respect people and respect girls,
Thank
or
you.
both for that matter.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing. Just a little nugget for young women, maybe 18, teenagers. Because teenagers, the reason why I stress on that is that they like to have fun. There's energy. They like to play. And they haven't gotten to 20, 30, 40 years. So they haven't gotten all the life experiences. And so I'm just going to say this from a man's perspective. And thank you all for sharing. Like you all said, yes, Irene, if a young lady, if young man, if a young lady even sits on your lap, she's wearing a short skirt, whatever, and she says no, of course, don't dare, just leave her alone. If if you're in the club, we know a lot of young ladies like to go to the club. If the man said young lady says no, please no, it's a no. Okay, don't stress it, don't push it. But the tricky part of it is that men go are visuals. And if you're a young lady and you are in the club and you are, you know how young ladies twerk these days, and they're grinding. To the young lady, she's having fun, she's partying. But as you're grinding and doing all of that, you are sending all kinds of messages to the guy, because there is non-verbal message, or there's non-verbal communication, and there's also verbal communication. Both are communication. So while you were doing all of that, you were giving him all the impression about to a man. And again, I'm speaking from a man's perspective. And it's a young man who may not have gotten the right training or the right understanding about the boundaries. All you are saying to that young man is that I am ready. I want this. I want more. I want more. I want more than this. In terms of, I want you to grab me. I want you to do a bit more to my body. So I think young women also have to. I think young. I want to say also, but young women, in addition to all the training, please stay away from the sitting on the lap. If it's not married to you, or if your parents, I mean, like at a certain age, there are certain behaviors that I think that it's safer. It adds to the precautionary measures that perhaps young ladies would need to take to avoid the unavoidable, because the body is such a way that once you kind of like tease it to a certain point, especially for men, if they are not trained and have certain boundaries well in place, they may become aggressive. And at the end of the day, because men are physically stronger, when the worst happens, yes, the guy will be dealt with according to the law, but a lot of times it ends up in several ways to the disadvantage of the young lady. And so my advice to a young lady who may be watching this show or later is that don't physically be all over that young man if you're not ready to get to certain limits. So stay within lanes, have fun, but let your body language speak exactly what your mind is telling you and what you don't want to do. And so I think that this is very, very important, that women know, young ladies know this for their own protection, because a lot of times we don't get the opportunity to teach these things. And so I just wanted to take that out there. I just wanted to put that out there for any young lady who may be watching this later, now or later. Let's go to, and please feel free to chime in, Luana or Irene, respond to any what I just said. I don't know if Irene want to, or Luana.
Yes, I would like to
Go.
just speak a little bit on what you just said.
Okay.
And as in addition to not, putting out all this giving out all these messages to males, I think young ladies, when they go out to have fun, we need to teach them to watch out. Just be conscious of your environment. In the club, for example, nowadays, date rape drugs are very common. In my community, we tell the young girls, even in our own adult parties, it's common to tell somebody, once you leave your drink and go to the bathroom and come back, don't drink it anymore.
Right.
Watch out for, what people, and now even they're using things that can affect you simply by you just touching them, door handles, inhalers, spray something in the air. So it's very important that as parents, as leaders in the community, as adults, we encourage these young girls to just be conscious of their environment. And also, if you're going to hang out, to go with a group, with a friend, someone who, we can watch out for each other.
Right.
Not only that, just being a young person. Nowadays, even young males are in vulnerable population. My teenage daughter who just got a car. I tell her, when you drive, we get these little messages on WhatsApp all the time. Send it to them and call her. Please watch that message. Somebody got robbed at the gas station because of this and that. So it's very important to be aware of your surrounding. Keep updated with what's going on in the news, in the community, ways with which aggressors or predators, new ways that they come up with to attack the young people. It's very important to be updated. And you do so by talking to others, by listening to your adult mentors and relatives.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Irene. Luana, I know you wanted to say something.
Yes, I would like to speak to the young ladies and the young men, or men, period.
Okay.
It's not the way a woman dress that should cause her harm to her body.
Okay.
It's not the way a woman go out or maybe a woman dance. Men need to learn to respect women, and protect women and not hurt our women, and love on our women. And it's not all the way about the way you dress or what you have on. Sometimes they sick and you can have on just some jeans and a shirt, like I did. I had on a t-shirt and some blue jean pants. It don't always have to be what you wear and what you do. Men need to teach young men how to have self-control and respect for women, as well as women have to have respect for themselves.
Great. Let's stay there for a bit. Thanks for the response, Luana. I agree completely. By what you just said, is there a room for, looking at or talking about provocative dressing and the implications of that? Is there room for that?
Is it room? Yes. I mean, you can teach a young lady how to dress and respect herself. But I guess just be careful what's around you. Just be careful what area you're in, like what you're doing. And just pay attention to what's going on, and just respect yourself enough. But it go both ways for the men and the women.
Good. No, you're right. And again, thanks for saying this. Men have to know this. Since men, again, are attracted by their eyes. There's a lunatic out there. He's on the street, complete lunatic. He's looking at this, provocative dressing, and unfortunately attacks this young lady. Okay. Anything can be done with that lunatic, but he's a lunatic. So whatever happens, he probably doesn't care. But that young lady is messed up for probably the rest of her life if she doesn't get help. So in this case, yes, we both have to be educated, but who needs more protection? Who needs to be more of in awareness, that self-awareness that all things being equal, at least I'm talking from the perspective of a straight man.
Mhm.
A man can wear, just boxer shorts and be walking around. A lunatic man, again, all things being equal, may not necessarily want to go after that young man who just has a tiny boxer pant or tiny panties on with his Manchester. He's not going to go after. If a young lady does a quarter of that, or come close to that kind of dressing, his sense is, again, using that lunatic analogy, right? And so, when you have those two scenarios, who gets hurt more? Who has a higher chance of getting
The
hurt?
woman, the woman.
Exactly. You
You're right.
know, and unfortunately, if there's pregnancy too, then she has to carry that pregnancy or get rid of it. The implications are a lot.
Yes, you're
So
right.
there's a lot of protection, especially how you look as a young lady is super, super, super important. Because as a young woman, young lady, or a woman, you don't have to go talk to a man to get any kind of interaction going. He just has to see. And when he sees, he's getting your communication through him to his eye. Again, this is not about men have to jump on anything. No, we're just saying that we have to educate both sides. But I wish that young ladies will know some of these things at a very young age, right? Will know some of this at a very, very young age, just so they can have extra protection for themselves. If mommy or daddy or big brother or uncle is not out there to protect them, right?
That's true.
So,
I,
and
I
thank
agree
you.
with you.
Yes.
I agree with you on that, Senna, and that there is room to talk about these things more. There's a saying that I really like. Simple: prevention is better than cure. You know, when if a young lady gets assaulted, the deed has already happened. Whether the perpetrator gets caught and is punished or not, she's already been scarred, wounded, traumatized, and it takes a lot more to get to heal that, to treat that, to heal the wounds than it does to prevent that from happening.
Exactly.
And yes, and as much as a man should learn to control themselves, um, a lot of things influence us. Alcohol influences people
Mm,
and changes
mm,
their behavior,
right.
influences their behavior. Drugs will influence and change people's behavior. But
Mm,
I think at the end of the day, it is very important that we prevent some of these things, or
mm,
take measures to lessen the likelihood of certain of these things happening,
yep, yep,
than to try to treat it, to try to support them and bring them back up, or
mm,
when it's
mm,
already happened, when the damage has been done.
right. Thank you all so much. If you just tune in, this is the Progressive Mind Show, and we are dedicating today and probably the next show for the intention was to have the whole month for women, because there are very, very important things and good reasons, all the good reasons why we need to focus on issues about women, their successes, celebrate them, and talk about some of the challenges that they face. And so today is one of them. Next week, God willing, we would be talking about um, um, maybe women's health. There's rise on, is it hiscotherapy? Oh, I'll find the name of the issue, the health issue that I want to talk about. It's about fibroids and how it affects women, and it's been on the rise these days. So we will probably get some experts to talk about this next week. If you just join us, we're discussing International Women's Day, looking at some of the challenges, and we are going to be talking about now how do women balance career and managing the home. You see, you do it all the time, but we don't know how deep this affects you, if it affects you at all, because you do it you do it so easily. You make it look easy, but and sometimes we don't know if it's even a thing or a challenge for you. So, Luana, um, you have been in corporate. You probably still are, and you're still managing your house as a wife and as a mother.
Mhm.
How walk us through how challenging, just navigating the process is for you.
Well, by the children, is my children are adults, and it's just really me and my husband, and keeping God first, and just doing what you need to do. I'll say to the mothers that have young children, if you have to work and come home and take care of husband and children, just do it the best you can. Like with my husband and I, we work together. We do everything together. So if I was too tired to cook, we both in the kitchen cooking. If I'm too tired to clean, we both cleaning. Let's make it a unity thing. Let's work together. So that's what I was saying.
Okay, so you just summarized this whole thing and made it look very simple. But Irene, before I come to you, there are a few folks that I want to acknowledge that have been on the line. So I know Dionada Love is watching. Thank you for chiming in. Mike LA was here earlier. Felix Miracle is also watching. Solomon Egan, you watching. Thanks for chiming in. Thanks for joining the feed. Bella Kuyate, Pepra as Mesa. Kimani Mani. Long time, brother. Thanks for joining us. And then Bridget, before we continue that career home balance question that I asked, Bridget sends a point in. She says, Irene, I am glad you mentioned drugs and alcohol. There are lots of things that lead to rape, assault. Dress is probably the minority. Thank you so much for sharing. And Bridget, if you've done some research or have some expertise, and you probably have, I'm sure you do, please you can call in and share with us. This is an educative platform or an educational platform, and so we like to learn from everyone as a community building show. So please feel free to chime in and share your nuggets with us. It will go a long way in blessing somebody. So Irene, please go ahead and respond to that. How are you able to navigate through work and managing your home as a woman?
It is, I would say doesn't look at, it's not as easy as it looks. Like you said, we make it look easy.
You mean it's not as easy as Luana just put it?
As Luana made it sound, Luana has an ideal husband. I would say. My story is so different from Luana's. I am divorced. I was divorced when my children were very young, and then recently widowed. So for a majority of of the time while I've been raising children, I've done it alone. And so it's taken a lot, and it was a learning process. It still is. I'm still learning a lot of things as I go on. But what I learned and that made that helped me the most was to to balance things, and that's a very vague word, but just do just that. Balance work and balance home, and that entails a lot of things like time management, like setting boundaries, like learning how to relax and giving myself permission to relax, like talking to family and friends, like taking my, talking to, just practicing my faith and the things that should help me in that regard. So it's a learning process. I don't think any one woman has it all together. We just, we learn as we go. We borrow from here. We learn new things. We go back and evaluate, see if what we are doing, if what I am doing has been working. If not, where can I adjust and make changes? And it's been a learning process as I go.
Okay, thank you for sharing, Irene. Bridget, if I'd like to know, actually, I feel like we all like to know you said there are a lot of things that lead to rape, assault, and we would like to learn some of these things. So if you can type them, or go ahead and type them in the feed, just a few points as much as you can, or you can ring 815-277-5047. 815-277-5047. And at this point, it's 7 p.m., 2 minutes past 7 p.m. Central. So anybody, I mean, if you feel like calling and sharing your opinion or contributing to the show, please feel free to do so. The number again is 815-277-5047. Thank you for adding your 2 cents, Irene. The name I was looking for is his
Hysterectomy.
Hysterectomy. I guess you can only pronounce it well if you are a medical professional. So yes, I can only pronounce it one time. I'll try it again when I do the show. I don't know why it's getting difficult to pronounce that word, but that is what we want to talk about, and other health, life-threatening health issues when it comes to women. So we hope that you can join us next week, Tuesday, same time here on this platform. Irene, Luana. So you have a program coming up. It talks about a broken crown, the crown of a woman being broken, fixing the crown, and taking back that queen status that somebody wanted to snatch away from you when you were probably young, or when you were at a very vulnerable stage. So can you tell us a bit about that event coming up, and the purpose of it, and what you are expecting to gain out of it?
Yes, I am the author of Damaged Crown Still Shine.
Okay.
And Fix Your Crown. I have the books. My website is right here up under my name. And I'm having my very first women's conference, Damaged Crown Still Shine, April the 13th from 12 to 4 in Detroit, Michigan at North Rosedale Park Community House, 18445 Scardale Street, Detroit, Michigan. And I am empowering women that has been through domestic violence, sexual assault, just any type of trauma, failed relationships, divorce, just feeling alone, single parenting. I'm empowering women on things. These are things that I went through. I am an open book here. This is the open book. And I talks about living my life through trauma, even if I could say the word suicidal, and how I persevered. And I just want women to know that there is sunshine at the end of the tunnel. At the end of the storm that you're going through, all the pain and you hurt, your damaged crown still shine. And I give the tools to fix your crown. April the 13th, you can get your tickets on Eventbrite or my website and click the link, and I would love to see you there.
Thank you for sharing. How long have you been married? I know you said it, but I'm sorry.
I've been married 11 years and been with my husband for 13 years.
Okay, great. Were you in corporate before you met your husband?
What's that again?
Were you in corporate world?
Your mic went out.
It's because I have a call coming through. I think we have a call coming in. Hello, brother. I think this is Captain Mike. Greetings, my brother. Long time no hear. It's a familiar voice. It sounds just like the Captain Mike session voice. So looking forward to it. But please go ahead and tell us reason why you're calling today. We're celebrating women today. We want to say happy International Women's Day to your beautiful wife and all the women in your life, brother. Look, be honest, bro. It's the whole month. Have you bought any flowers for her yet? Or you were, working on it? mm, mm, mm. Okay. No, great. And let me push you one more time. You have seen her help you in your career while she's working on hers and trying to keep the home organized. What can you say when we talk about women and the challenges they go through balancing corporate and home? What have you observed about her and how she's able to go through it? I know she speaks to you about how she's dealing with it and with the needs she has. So maybe you've learned or heard a few things that you can educate the masses today with. They, they can barely hear you. So if you can speak up a bit, Captain Mike. Mm. Yes. Mm, 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 mm. And that's what we're trying to find out from the women we have on the show today. How do they do it? And I want them to be getting certain specifics. But before I let you go, brother, what has she asked you specifically to help her with, to help her find that balance? Mm, 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 So she doesn't ask you to do anything to help her out? Wow. Wow. Mm. Man, you're blessed. Thank you for all right, my brother. Any last words for the beautiful men on the show or the beautiful men out there? Thank you, brother. Thank you so much for chiming in. We appreciate you. Look forward to having you on the show and speaking to you soon. Okay. All right, brother. Thank you so much, Captain Mike, for chiming in. We appreciate your kind words. We are very appreciative of that. We want to go straight to Tawana. I mean, sorry, Luana. He just said that he has to just stay out of the way. And, of course, he talked about how you all make it easy. And that's the truth. That's what I've also observed. You know, I, some women hardly complain. If they do, what? So, Luana, you have to work. You have to go to the office. You have to write your book. You have to organize all of this. And then take care of your husband and your children and the home, right?
Yeah.
Now, what goes through your mind when you're doing this? Do you feel tired at certain point in time? Do you feel stressed out in between all of this? And when you do, what makes you pick your? What do you do to pick yourself up?
What I do to pick myself up, I do things I love. I make sure I have self-care day. Self-care is important. But when I'm going to go back, when I was in the corporate world before I met my husband, when I worked for the school district, so I was right with my children. I was in the area of my children. So I worked for the schools where they were all the way up to they graduated high school. And I was able to come home, still cook dinner, clean the house, and get them ready for bed. And just, and then once I got married, I was still working in the school district. And when I got home before he got home from work, was able to cook dinner, help the kids with homework, clean the house, and then wind them down. And I was able to be a wife and do what I need to do to, see about him and how was his day at work, and he'd see about how my day was at work. And hey, we just live life. And I know it's hard because a lot of people just can't do it, but it's all about working together and not being so exhausted.
So you obviously have that understanding.
Yes.
How did you get that?
Communication.
From
Communication is key.
communication with who?
My husband.
Before you met your husband, you must have already known this because you couldn't have learned. I mean, you might have learned it during the marriage, but did you already have this understanding that when you are in marriage, when you're in the house, whatever, with a man or a family, and you have to work, this is how you deal with it when you're stressed? Do you already have this forehand information before getting into the marriage?
Well, I watched my pastor and his wife at the time growing up. I watched my great grandparents celebrated 75 years of marriage before leaving this earth. And I watched how she took care of him. And I watched how my grandmother took care of the male and the family and how to embrace and nurture.
Mm.
So, and I'm a nurturer. So, yes.
So you already had that experience based off your family unit, the family structure, the village
Yes.
that you had, and you
Yes.
watched it. So how about women who may not be as fortunate as you are to have grown up in that condition? Um, what advice would you give this women before they even venture into a serious relationship or marriage, if they aspire to?
Make sure they have God first. Make sure that they know their worth. They know who they are as a woman. And, love on your children and protect your kids at all costs. And,
Mm.
know that you're supposed to be respected by a man at all costs.
Okay. Thank you so much for your responses. Irene, I know you may wanted to have chime in on one of the questions or comments, but if you did, please do so. If not, then I will just go ahead and ask you the next question. But please just give me 1 second. I hear that Captain Mike wasn't heard. We apologize for that technical glitch, but hopefully it's not repeated on the next call. So for those who couldn't hear Captain Mike, he was basically talking about how he gets out of the way of his wife, so that she can be the woman that she wants to be in their marriage, in a respectful way. And he also talked about how he's not always organized at home, and so if it's leaving things all over the place, that adds a additional stress or additional work to the woman. He tries to work on that. That is his issue, and he too doesn't get it how women are able to handle their career and home. He can figure it out. They just make it look so easy. His mom, he attested to the fact that his mom was like that, and his sisters. And so we men, we're bamboozled, and we want to know, so that if we need to help you more, or if we need to do one or two things to find ways to help you find the balance. Please tell us what you go through. If it's not difficult, then we know that, oh, it's not a difficult thing. Women got it. It's fine. They can handle all the stress. But if there is any stress there, please let us know. Irene, I know you wanted to chime in. Go ahead, please.
You know, just listening to you talk about Captain Mike, whoever it
Mm.
is, and what he said.
Oh, you
Um,
didn't hear him as well?
no, we didn't hear. I didn't hear him at
I
all.
Oh,
did
I'm
it.
sorry. Okay.
Um,
Okay.
yes, but it all what you said, or what he said was all about communication, which is
Mm.
very, very, very important, as Luanda mentioned earlier. Communication, I think, in a household is key. Not only communication between partners, spouses, also communication between the parents and children, and vice versa, and
Mm.
whoever you're in a relationship with. I
Mhm.
think the key is communication and making yourself just understanding each other. Um, and yes, so women, a lot of us do not communicate enough. We do
Mm.
not. Yes, and that's a mistake that I made earlier on in my life, in my journey in motherhood, and just as a person. We shut down. I would shut down if things didn't go my way, instead of expressing how I would like things to be done. Not necessarily meaning that once you do, it's gonna happen, the way you want it to. But at least it's letting the other know you're giving them a chance to know you, to understand how you want things to be done, to make things better. So communication is key. It's priority. We cannot overemphasize that. So yes, I would encourage my fellow women, young ones, older ones, wherever stage you are, please communicate, express yourself to your partners, to whoever you're in relationship with, any kind of relationship, whether it's work relationship, platonic relationships, parent-child relationships, husband, whatever. Communication, how you would like things to be done, how you expect things to be done, your limits, your worth, your whatever. They don't know until you let them know. And vice versa. Men also communicate, but we also learn.
Yes.
We also
Irene, hold on 1 second. I think we have a call on the line. Christina, can you hear me? Okay, so Luana and Irene, can you hear our caller?
No.
no.
Okay, so you can hear them, Christina. You can hear our guests. Hello, Christina. Hello. Okay, so our caller can hear you guys, but you can't hear them, and I can hear her. So we would work on that. Please bear with us for this evening. But Christina, I mean, of course they can hear you. If you want to share something, fine. If not, then we would want to continue our conversation this evening with our guests. Okay. All right. Looks like she can't hear me. So thanks for calling. We apologize for the glitch. We will work on it and make sure we can get it back next week. So thank you, Luana and Irene Anderson, for sharing so far. But again, Luana, I'm still very interested in fixing damaged crowns, fixing your crown. How long did it take you to write this book?
2 years. It took me 2 years to write the first book because I had to go through a lot of editing, a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of tears. It took time, but I made it. I made it through.
Okay, are these your first books?
Yes, Damaged Crown Still Shine is the first book.
And which year was this reading? Which year was the Damaged Crown reading?
Damaged Crown just produced in August of last year.
Okay.
And this one was December of last year. This is a workbook, and this is the actual book.
Okay. So in essence, what is Damaged Crown saying?
Damaged Crown is about
and you can hold it to the camera a bit more.
Okay. Damaged Crown Still Shine is my life story. How I persevered through abandonment, abuse, sexual abuse, physical, emotional abuse, and where I'm at in life now. Getting married, letting women know you can still find true love after trauma. And just where I'm at today. I was a single mother. I was a single mother at the age of 16 years old, and my daughter that I had at the age of 16 have graduated high school and in college with degrees, and I was a single mother that did that. So I just want you to know, women, to know you can, with or without the father's help, you can keep going and raise your children, because some women feel like they can't raise their kids without the father. And I just want to be the beacon of light and say, yes, you can.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. And you suffered all these unfortunate incidences in your life, and you were using that to empower others.
Yes.
All this, would you say all of this pain and agony you went through happened before the age of 20?
Yes, I was third. Well, I was 4 years old when my mother was out on drugs, and we were just living with my grandparents. And then at the age of 13, I was molested, kidnapped and molested by my uncle. And then the second time, I was 14, and I was molested by my uncle again. And yes, and I'm still here, and I'm able to tell my story.
Right. Mm. Again, very, very, very sorry to hear, and that's very heavy for anybody to take. Now, so at the time your parents were still alive, were you still living with your parents?
Yes. No, at the time I was living with my grandmother and my auntie when it happened. And my mother just got cleaned off drugs, and I ended up going to stay with her. And I was with her until I moved out and got my own home.
Okay. So you had to move out to live on your own at a very early age.
Yes, I bought my first home at the age of 21. It's in a book. I bought my first home at the age of 21.
Great. Congratulations on that. Very inspiring, right?
Yes.
So you had to endure all this pain, and this was happening in Detroit?
Yes.
Okay. You had to endure all this pain as a young lady. Something must have helped you to give you the courage. I'm sorry, I think we're having feedback. But something must have helped you to give you the courage to be able to move on, to even get a job, to be able to purchase your first house. What was that?
Keeping God first. My grandmother brought us up in church, and I stayed at the altar. I cried. I had a personal relationship with the Lord before I even knew I had a relationship with the Lord. And working for the school district, and end up, at the time my credit was good, and I bought my first home. I had someone to help me with the home buying process. So I was a homeowner at the age of 21 with a 2-month-old and a 3-year-old.
A 3-year-old. And so you said, would you say the main thing that kept you and that held you, made you helped you go through that, go through those tough times is God?
Keeping God first, yes.
Keeping God first. Were there any family members, friends, some very key people in your life that came through for you?
No. I was alone. I was by myself. I was pushed away. And what happened was they wanted to sweep it up under the rug. And a family member asked, "Do we got to press charges on him?" And the police said, the prosecutor said, "Yes, if you all don't press charges, the state will pick it up." So their hands was forced to press charges. They didn't want to press charges. And I promise you, I wasn't fast or nothing. I always used to cry for my mother. And I felt like I was vulnerable because all I did is I didn't want to be with my grandmother or my aunt. I didn't want to be there. I wanted to be with her. And I couldn't have her because she was on drugs and, living her life at that time. So, so nobody was there. Even in my suicidal processes, nobody was there. But I just thank God for keeping me, because I always went to church, but I always wanted to give up at times. But I thank God that I had faith to keep going.
You had faith to keep going, and nobody was there to physically give you the help that you needed. And then, so at what age did you meet your great husband?
And I think I was 32 years old. I was 32. Okay.
And what was the thing about your husband that made you decide that, okay, this is my king, and I'm gonna be his queen?
He was a listener. He listened to me. He embraced me. He loved on me, and he didn't want to let me know my damaged crown still shine. The title of the book came from him. Damaged crown still shine. He did not judge me by my trauma. He looked at me and loved on me, and that gave me even more willpower to, stop letting people walk over me and mistreat me and use me and hurt me. He stopped all that, and that's why I'm a stronger woman today.
So you met this man, and was it in church?
No, actually, I went to my niece's wedding, September the 10th, and she threw her bouquet and it hit me right here, and I caught it. The next day on 9/11, 2011, I met my husband at a red light. He pulled up on the side of me and said, "Is it a book though?" He said, "Hey, give me your number." And so we ended up stuck at this light. It changed. No cars came behind us, and we talked and talked. He was very persistent.
Mm.
He's a very persistent guy.
Now, let's stay on that for a second because it's the story is inspiring, and so we want to learn more. So you when you first met him, you know how women have your own description of the perfect man, right? And I think men too. We all have.
Mhm.
At first glance, when he came at you, was it maybe with the first time you went out and you saw the whole of, because the first time he was in the car, so you probably didn't see everything. But when you met him, did it hit you? Oh, he has everything that I want in a man. Was that your first experience?
Yes, yes, and yes.
All right. Would you say that so of course that that was it for you, and then more so when he kept encouraging you and held you up, what would be your advice? Maybe we should have you on the show to talk about relationships, but for young women, first of all, at what age would you advise women to start looking out for their life partners? What age?
Well, the Bible says that when a man find a wife, he find is a good thing. And when he find
Right.
that good thing, he find favor. The problem is, as young women want to look for a man and think every man that we in lust with, we want that man. And that man is not meant to carry your favor, that had a favor that you carry. But sometimes I found myself chasing these men that I was dating because I thought I was in love, but you can't possibly be in love with every man you meet. And I look back over my life now, I'm like, what the world I was thinking. So I say, keep yourself, and when you're dating, don't be too thirsty for that man. Make
And
that
what
man
age?
chase you.
What age should you be checking all of these qualities out?
I say about what, 25?
Okay, so your
25?
ideal age is 25.
Yeah, I say
Great.
25.
Awesome. Based off your experience, and really appreciate you for sharing. Would you say that had you not met your great husband, would you have been able to accomplish all that you've accomplished now, and even the things that are yet to come?
No, no,
Why
no.
that?
Because what we built it together. And the strength that I have and the courage I have came from my husband. It didn't come from me. And even though I'm God-fearing, I'm a praying woman, but he gave me life. I feel like he gave me the willpower to keep going. He gave me the strength. He was that man that I needed. I was his rib because we needed each other. He told someone on the podcast that she saved my life. He just don't know he saved mine as well.
Wow. So you're obviously being a blessing to each other. Thank you so much for sharing your inspirational story. We'd like to know some of the people that are coming to the event. But Irene, I know you've been silent for a while. Did you want to chime into anything that LATWAINA said or something that we shared earlier?
Well, your questions was very specific to her, so
Okay. So I'll come to you. I'll come to you. So you were divorced, and unfortunately, you are also a widow. Now, obviously, it will be more challenging. Would you say that when he was around, did he play a significant role? Because we're talking about how men can help you, or even your children can help their parents, I mean, especially your mothers, to help them navigate being a corporate woman or a career woman, and also being a good mother or good wife at home. How do the men, the husbands, the life partners, how critical are their roles in you finding this balance?
Oh, very, very. I think it's very, very important if you are in that relationship. A partnership should not only end in the bed. It should expand to every area of your life together, and thus, help from a partner, a spouse, a husband to to keep the house running smoothly, to help you in your career, help you expand, help you grow in your career is very, very important, if not necessary. So I would say it is, yes, it's very important.
Okay. How when it comes to children, um, are there ways that they play? Are there ways that you would need them to be involved in your in navigating between career and your careers and managing the house? And how do you go about that? Because we know in America, you can you can discipline your children the way you would discipline them in Africa. That should be told. You know, in Africa, you know when you're a kid or when you're a young person, as long as you live under your parents' roof, there are rules that cannot be broken. Helping with chores, helping to keep the house clean, helping mom and dad, doing your homework. So, but in this country, how difficult is it to get them to help you navigate, find the balance between these two spaces that you operate in? Not just these two spaces, but just two critical spaces. Irene.
Well, getting your children involved in running the house and helping you in whatever
Mm,
you're doing is also very critical. And I think should start really very early, because children are a lot more smarter than we give them credit for.
mm,
Children understand, and they pick up things faster than we think they do.
mm,
Um, um, yes, I was divorced. My youngest child was only maybe 2 when we separated. Um, so I had to learn quickly how to get them to work with me.
mm,
Um, yes, I can remember one time when I was in nursing school. Um, because I had to go, even with school, I had to go step by step. I couldn't just jump into a program. I had to like start from the entry level nursing to the next level, and that's how I did it. Because where I was, I couldn't just jump into a full 4-year nursing program. And so I remember at this point, I was going to get the registered nurse thing, and I was planning to go to school. And here I am, a single woman, with my 3 children and my mom at home. But I had to like sit them down and tell them what's going on, what's going to be happening. Mom is going to go to school, so um, money will be tight, and so you have to work with me. And we laid it down. We made the plan down to, I'm telling you, flushing the toilet, how many times you were allowed to, the lights and all. So it was very important for me. I talked to them, and it worked very well for the 2 years that I was in that program. I I worked part-time, but we did not miss a bill. We did not lack anything, because I talked with my children, and they quickly understood, and they worked with me in that regard. So
mm,
I think we can teach our children very early on. We can talk to them, and they do understand very well what's going on, and let them understand what part they play, and how important it is for this. Because when mommy gets this higher degree, higher, bigger certificate, it means more for the family. So it's very important that we get them involved from a very young age.
great.
Yeah.
Thank you so.
And to
Thanks.
answer your last question about
Mm,
the male, yeah, the man, how important it is very important. And I think the most important thing is to understand each other, because everyone is different. My first husband was so very different from my second husband, and we the lessons that I learned from the first failed marriage helped me, I would say, in the second, because I know I learned how to give and take some, not just expect to take all the time. but also just learn to receive and not feel guilty about receiving the love, the attention, the care, the concern, and also to understand what they can do and what they cannot do. You know, is he the one, like your friend said, he's a messy person. You know, then I just learned how to choose my battles. You know, he's a mercy person. Is that something that I want to fight about? No. You know, I let it stay there. For example, this is the hamper. Dump your dirty clothes inside. I will wash all the clothes that are in the dirty hamper. But you decide to throw it down there wherever. Hey, we'll let it stay there. And if it doesn't get washed, your fault. Okay, right? So I think it's important that we learn to just choose our battles, decide what is important to fight about and what is not.
Okay.
And you know, we learn each other as we go, but we
Okay.
have to keep an open mind in
Right.
this.
In these conversations, keeping an open mind in these conversations. You are watching the Progressive Mind Show. It is 37 minutes past 7 p.m. Central. You if you're on Facebook, like the page, share it. For those who have not shared it now, I know Captain Mike hasn't shared it. Captain Mike, if you're watching, share it so that your friends and our friends can all participate in this great, important dialogue. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. Tell your friends about it. That this is the community building. This is the number one community building platform in the world, and we need your friends and our friends to engage in these pertinent conversations because we want to make our societies better. We want to make our communities better, and we've dedicated this platform for these convos. So we encourage you to help share the message. Gabriel is here. He says communication is definitely key to successful relationship. Thank you for these nuggets, Miss Irene and Miss LATWAINA. And then we have choosing your battles. Yes, that's right there, choosing your battles. Thank you, ladies, for sharing your experiences so far. We are today talking about work, career, and home balance for women. How are you able to navigate these things? Do we talk about it enough publicly as a society? Do we acknowledge this, that perhaps our women are dealing with these things differently or are having challenges in this area? Because um, we know that even at the workplace, women are paid less. And all the challenges that we know at our workplaces, it's in Africa, it's in America, it's in developed worlds. And so having to prove themselves at the workplace, getting all the promotions, and then at the end of the day, coming home to face the challenges at home as well, and how they're able to make it happen each day, day in, day out, week after year, well, week, month after month, year after year, decade after decade, is so admirable. And we want to take this opportunity to applaud women around the world in this International Women's Day for all you've done for us individually, for your families, for your families, your communities, the nations, and the entire society. As we bring the conversation to an end, I would like to go back to Irene to tell us some of the people that are featuring on this important event that you have coming up.
Oh, me? You just said Irene. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry. LATWAINA.
Yes, I have a keynote speaker, Sherry Denago. She's our former legislator and Detroit Public School member.
Okay.
We have the MC Vera Cunningham, the First Lady of Historic East Lake Church. We have Neem Bailey, a motivational speaker, a minister, a Hall of Fame recipient. Lady Love, she's a singer, a motivational speaker. My husband, the special guest, Chosen. He will be in the house empowering women. And we have Sky Covington. She's a jazz singer, and she's going to bless us with music and song. And some other guests and speakers that will be coming through.
Awesome. Is there going to be food?
It's going to be some soul food, okay? It's going
Okay.
to be some good food. It's going to be, do you want me to name all the food?
Yes, please name some of the food. Yeah.
We're going to have some string beans. We're going to have baked chicken, meatballs, fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, yams, few different salads. We're going to have a fruit tray. We're going to have veggie tray. We're going to have some juice. We're going to have water. And we're just going to, and the women, is going to be a red carpet event, a formal
Okay.
event where when women walk the red carpet, they will be crowned before they enter the door.
Wow. Who's going to do the crowning?
I'm working on that now. I hope I can have 2 gentlemen in suits crowning each woman that walk through the door.
How significant is to see that, to see women, to see men crowning women, and in a broader sense, quickly, because we getting towards the end of the show. And now I want this question to be answered by both of you. How significant is it for men to be involved in these bigger conversations, whether it's issues with men, be part of the family, just being part of the community and being seen playing the lead role and just supporting? How significant is this for women and to our society? LATWAINA, you first.
It's significant for men because men are supposed to be leaders. Men are strength for women. And we want to, show men that you can't protect women at all costs. By crowning a woman is a beautiful thing. And some men have damaged crowns that have been through trauma as well. So if I can have men being crowned, I'll crown men too. So, but I didn't make it that far yet. But men have damaged crown. Men have experienced trauma too. And they cannot really trust women to open up about the things they've been through because, they feel like they're being judged. But this is no judging zone, man. That crown still shine. We're going to talk and we're going to open up and we're just going to cry and be together. And
when does this program start?
April the 13th from 12 to 4.
And it's ticketed?
Yes, it's tickets. The tickets are $60, and you can buy the tickets off Eventbrite or go on my website and click the Eventbrite link or cash.
What's your website?
www.damagedcrownstillshine.com.
What kind of women are you inviting or looking forward to attend this event?
All women of all walks of life. There's no judging zone because every woman having been sexual abuse, every woman having not been in domestic violence, every woman have not experienced the same. Every woman have a different story, but we all have stories, so they are welcome.
Are you going to stream this?
No, it will not be live streamed. No.
Okay. Now we are asking, why aren't we streaming? Because people would like to watch this, and if they can't be there.
Well, because it's a site where I'm selling tickets and people are paying to be there, then it'd be unfair to stream it for free and everybody can stay at home and don't come.
No, it sounds like a very beautiful event upcoming. The only ingredient is missing for me is the fact that when you mentioned all the food, the kinds of food that's going to be there, I didn't hear no jollof. I didn't hear no Ghana jollof. I didn't hear no spicy chicken. The word spicy didn't come out.
Make it and bring it. Make it and bring it.
The word spicy didn't. I didn't hear no spicy stuff. So I'm like, okay, that's the only thing we're missing for the African men and African women that are going to be there. But that's just on the. That's on a light note.
We're gonna change it to a potluck. Bring it.
Okay. No, but definitely again, it's that was on the light side. I know that it's going to be an inspiring event, uplifting one. People are going to get healed, and so if you are in the Detroit area, please look out for. Let's go over the event again, the name, the venue, and all of that. Social media. LATWAINA, I want you to go over the event again. People in the Detroit area. This event is coming up. Let's go over the details one more time.
Okay, Damaged Crown Still Shine is in Detroit, Michigan, at North Rosedale Park Community House at 18445 Scardale Street. It's in a beautiful community. We will have security. We will have soul food. Women is a formal event, but if you don't have formal wear, you're still welcome. And women is red carpet. You're going to be crowned, and we're going to have a comedian. We're going to have speakers, and we're going to have just some people that's really informational. So everybody is welcome. The tickets are sold on Eventbrite, or you can Cash App $ Empowering One, and you can. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
Because everybody don't know how to use Eventbrite, so I will have my Cash App up. And
What's the Cash App? What's the Cash App information?
The $EMPOWERING #1.
Okay. What's the name of your? I'm sorry. What's the name of your organization?
Damaged Crown Still Shine.
Okay. Is this a 501c?
Yes, it's a 501c.
Okay. So people can just make donations if they cannot be there.
Yes.
Okay. Are we? Okay. Great. So that said, just be aware that because we did the promotion of donations, for every dollar that comes through your organization, 10% has to come to me personally. Okay.
Okay.
I'm just joking. We are hoping that people will donate and support your organization in the upcoming events. Now the 1 or 2 comments that came through, I'd like to read them. Hey, Luana, will you? Okay, so she was the one that was asking about the event being streamed. Choosing your battles. Okay, so we already read that. Okay, so Melisha just joined us too. She says love it, and I see Jeff Wachi just joined us, and Evermore is also watching us, and Gabriela Ochu Imeni. Sorry if I didn't get the name correctly. As we wrap up this discussion this evening, I'd like to thank you all for joining. This is very, very important. This is International Women's Month, and let's all be cognizant of it as we appreciate and celebrate our women, because they hold us down in every way. And so we need to take this month. We need to be cognizant of this month, and either we are supporting Luana's event or her organization, or donating to the Progressive Mind Show, which is 501c. Just because we are hosting our women on the platform, so donate to us as well. Okay, we deserve it. But no, we are 501c. All contributions go towards producing these events, these weekly shows, week in, week out. And we also have been bridging the gap between the diaspora, and we are going to have the King from Ghana come again this year, June 20th, 21st, and 22nd. It's a 3-day event of cultural celebrations within the African diaspora. We also going to use that time to welcome all folks that share the African heritage, so we can engage in an exchange of our dance, food, and fashion. It's going to be a beautiful event. And that the crowning, or I'll say the epic moment of that whole evening, is the coronation of kings and queens. We're bringing a king from Ghana who's going to do this live coronation. This is our 4th annual of restoring the royalty of our brothers and sisters who were taken from Africa and lost their royalty as a result of their separation from the continent. And so it's time for us to bring their royalty back and their culture. And it's time for us to understand that we share a common heritage. It's a space for us to heal as Black people, because we have been damaged on both sides through what we have been through. But in all, we have thrived, we have achieved, we have succeeded, but we still need a lot of work to be done among ourselves. And so this event is created to help us to understand, respect, and acknowledge each other's cultures as we share our food, our fashion, our dance, and of course, our royalty being restored to African Americans by Togbi Nyaho Tamaklo coming all the way from Ghana. So mark that date, save it. June 20th, 21st, 22nd is celebrated in the week of Juneteenth here in the city of Chicago. If you want more information, you can go to theexchangeceremony.com. theexchangeceremony.com. On Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, you can get more information on there. Of course, we will be putting updates of what is going to what is happening, what is going to come off it, the 3 days, the panel discussion, the business meeting, and the celebration and the coronation, the day itself. So more information to come on that. Make sure you are in the city of Chicago between June 20th, 21st, 22nd, especially June 22nd, which is going to be the grand finale. Invite your friends, save the date, and let's come and celebrate us together as a people of the African heritage or people of the African diaspora. That said, why should we pay attention to Women International Month? Why should anybody pay attention to it and contribute to the celebration of this very important month? As we close this conversation, I would like to start with Irene, your closing remarks.
It is very important, as we know, our society, be it America or the rest of the world, is for the most part patriarchal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where the man has always had been the head of the family, the head of society, the head of our communities have been men. So it's very important to recognize and appreciate women for the strides that they've made in different parts of our lives, whether in the house, in education, in science, in art, literature, whatever the case may be, politics. I think it allows the young up and coming generation to understand their worth, understand their position, understand that they are important in not only at home but also in the community at large, and their contributions matter. Their contributions are seen and appreciated, and that they have a voice. So I think it's very, very important to pay attention, to see what's going on, to bring in our young ones to also see what's going on and participate in the International Women's Month celebrations and activities.
Thank you so much. Same question to you, LaTWAINA.
Well, I will go right what Miss Irene said, is that to pay attention and become more knowledgeable, because her and I both didn't even understand the International Women Day. So now we got to make sure that we just learn and understand Women's Day and just become more knowledgeable and pay attention and bring our young women up to know that we do have a day. And let's celebrate it.
And we do have a month, actually.
A month.
Right.
Yes.
To acknowledge women's challenges, whether it's in the area of abuse, whether it's equal rights at the workplace, whether it's health disparities, and even celebrating women in any aspect, any career, in any work, in any aspect of their lives or in the society. We need to pay attention in equally celebrating women as we celebrate men. On that note, we would like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
The reason why the event Damaged Crown Still Shine is going on in April, it'll be every year in April, because it's during Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And I just want to make that aware too. And this is the reason why I am empowering women every year this in April.
So April, okay, so if I heard you correctly, April is Sexual Awareness Month.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So thanks for sharing that information. And to all of you, this is Logan Brown says, yes, exchange ceremony. Yes, very, very important. His Royal Majesty Togbin Yaho Tamaklos coming all the way from Ghana. Some more kings and queens will be crowned this year. We've already crowned Jesse, Congressman Danny Davis, Dr. Carol Adams, and Mrs. Valerie Daniels Carter. They've all been crowned. Who are the new crowned? Who are going to be crowned this year? Stay tuned for that. It's going to be very, very interesting, very exciting. We're looking forward to it. On that note, I would like to thank everyone that has joined us on the feed, on Facebook and YouTube to participate in our first episode in this month of International Women's Celebrations. And we want to say again, Congratulations to all women across the globe. Thank you, all women, for what you have sacrificed, for what you have had to endure, what you have built, and how you have nurtured all of us in becoming who we are, and how you've helped shape our world to becoming to be a better place. Now we know that each day you keep making our world better. Thank you for all that you have done and what you continue to do. We thank God for your lives. We pray that God keep you, bless you, and protect you. Lawana, we ask that your event be a very successful one. May it bring blessing, inspiration, and impacts not only women but men as well. And may you go beyond the borders of Detroit.
Yes.
That's all right. That said, thank you all for making it happen. To my able assistants of this producers of this show, Lekaya Neal, thank you for helping to produce this show. Christina King, thank you for helping to produce this show. It was last minute, but you all came through, and we made it happen. So next week we shall continue with our celebrations and conversations around International Women's Day. Once again, remember, to whom much is given, much is required. This has been your host, Senna, aka Alinko. We shall be here next week, Tuesday, at 6 p.m. Just keep that date, and keep sharing the feed. Now, ladies, Luana, Kelly, and Irene, thank you all for making the show. Have a wonderful evening. My regards to your beautiful families, and
Thank
blessings to you all.
you.
Okay,
Thank
bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Good night.